Here's the box it came in.
Recently, one of our Patreon supporters posted a link in our Discord of a hot deal they found on eBay. The eBay listing is for an IBM server model 8640-OPO. We're always on the lookout for more IBM hardware, and while this isn't a PS2, it captures the same 90s beige aesthetic that was so iconic of that series. These massive server towers were always intriguing to us, especially when coming across them in mid-90s computer shopper magazines. However, one of the photos shows that this is actually an 8640-0Y0, not the 0P0 listed in the auction title. A quick Google search revealed that this is actually a dual-socket Pentium. That sealed the deal for us, so we purchased it. Upon arrival, our excitement quickly turned to massive disappointment. The dilapidated, well-used moving box it was shipped in did not bode well for what was inside. The server was covered in a very thin layer of bubble wrap with some loose pieces in the box for good measure, with predictable results. The front panel plastic was completely smashed, resulting in a pile of plastic pieces. The LED indicators and power switch were the only thing keeping this one broken piece hanging on. And we can see the rear of the case was also covered in plastic, which is broken as well. Looking at the back panel, we can see that the PS2 ports don't line up with the openings. So clearly, we'll need to further inspect the system and get that figured out. We revisited the system a few days later to see what we can actually do with it. We could immediately see the impact inside. These add-in cards had been unseated from the shipping damage. Our dual processor machine is only populated with one CPU, but there is a bank of extended ISA slots, the bottom of which is occupied by the system's VGA card. Up above are PCI slots where the network cards, which we've removed, were installed, as well as a SCSI controller. There is an external SCSI port and an internal 50-pin ribbon cable snaking over to the CD-ROM drive and two hard drives. After fiddling around with the AT-style power switch, we were finally able to power it on, and the system slowly came to life. Turn it on. Yeah.
The fan in the PSU is not turning.
Okay.
But the case fan is. I'll hit F2. That worked.
The system has a Pentium 90 MHz CPU, and a moment later, we see the Adaptec SCSI card initializing, and it triggers the power on of the two hard drives, which thankfully sound like they survived the assault during shipping. There wasn't much to see in the BIOS, so we exited to boot straight into DOS. That was a little unexpected to see for this type of server, but it is from 1995, so maybe that makes sense. The Adaptec driver initialized, and we can see the end of AutoExec had server commented out, and we're in a NetWare directory. So let's run server and see what it does. We can see NetWare version 4.10 start and initialize, and there are some messages about disk mirroring. We're prompted though for a volume audit password, and so we just press enter, which then prompts us for a file server name and IPX internal network number, which maybe has something to do with the removed network cards.
Weird. So it's like a NetWare without its config.
Huh. We're now at the NetWare menu, and since neither of us are NetWare admins, we're just poking around with the help command and really have no idea what to do at this point. So where does that leave us now? Well, with all the broken plastic, this clearly isn't going to be a display piece in the museum, but it could still be an interesting platform to explore. The system has both a token ring and Ethernet NIC, and token ring is an often requested topic for the channel, so maybe we can utilize it in that aspect. Perhaps more exciting though is just that we have a dual socket Pentium server. But what can we do with it? Well, the server currently runs Novell NetWare, which would have been popular as a file server or maybe as a router between Ethernet and token ring, but that wouldn't really show off the SMP capabilities. Let us know in the comments what operating system you think we should install, or if you've got any ideas on what to demonstrate. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.